Hey guys, it's Katie. So it's Tuesday night, 10 o'clock, and I want to start something, and I have an idea for a blend, but I don't know how it's going to work or what I'm going to use it in. I just feel like doing something like normal. So I'm going to use tonight Fimo Soft, and I don't use it often. So I don't have tons of it, but I do have a couple of colors. I wanted to start using it more, but it's harder for me to find. Even on Etsy, it's really, clay right now is hard to find point blank. Some of it is, some of it's not. I don't have any Fimo Soft White, so I was just going to order some. So I was looking on Amazon. A 2-ounce block is $6 on Amazon. And on Etsy, I looked on Etsy, a 2-ounce block is $9. Like, come on. I can't, yeah, I think it must just be low. So I do have some Fimo Professional in white that I've had for a while. So that's what my white is. Then I have this yellow, which is lemon, and I just took 2 of the strips. I don't know if I'm going to use it all, but that's what I'm going to condition. So it's lemon. This one's apple green. Again, 2 of the things. And then I took 1 of the brilliant blue. And I'm going to get these all conditioned. This one I've already done. I'm going to condition these 2 and then get them in their teardrop shapes because we're going to make a blend from white, yellow, green, blue. Okay, I got all my colors conditioned and in the Teardrop Blend setup. So fat, skinny, fat, skinny. And obviously I have less blue because I wanted to go more with the green. I should just get it off this tile if I can. And so I'm just flattening out a little bit because they're too thick to fit through my pasta machine right now. So I'm just, to not strain my pasta machine, just going to roll it out a little bit. You can do your blends however you want to do it. You can do a Skinner blend with the traditional triangles. Fiona Abel Smith does a kind of modified one where she just puts like a diagonal line in the middle. I find the teardrops easier for me. So we're going to run it through our pasta machine where all of the colors are touching the rollers, okay? Not just one color, because then you're just going to blend this all into one greenish blue color. And yeah, I just got a little sludge on my from my pasta machine, but I'm not going to worry about that. So always keep your colors vertically away from you, not horizontally like this. And then you want to fold them up. Just fold up. I usually give a pinch on the sides because I don't like my blends to be too wide. So I generally will, every few rolls, pinch the sides until I get it down to the width I want. And then again, all the colors touching the rollers first. And I tend to do my blends on setting 0. Some people do them on thinner settings. I tend to do 0. So I'm going to actually flip it on this side because I want the white. On one side, like this is my pasta machine, I conditioned the white and the yellow, and then on this side I conditioned the blue and the green. And I just put my roller, my clay in this way where I conditioned the blue and the green, not where I conditioned the white. So I'm going to switch it, and that way hopefully I'll get less and less of this stuff if I put it on that side. So again, we're just going to keep folding up until you have a blend that you're happy with. Everybody likes their blends at different smoothnesses. Some people like them more nice and smooth. Other people like the graduated lines, like where you can actually see. So just wherever you're happy. And I'm going to keep doing that. So I just have to say, as I'm working this out and looking at it, I don't like the way the blue and the green are mixing. I don't mind the dark green, but it's an ugly color mix, those two together. I'm not like super fond of it. And that's why I didn't add a lot, because I didn't know, I'm not used to using these colors at all, so I didn't know what it was going to look like. And I'm not a big fan of right here. So, and it might just be the tone of blue I have. It might have been more on the red side and doesn't match really well with the green. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some green here. Let me just run it through my machine and get it conditioned just a little bit because I just cut it out of the package. So I wanted to kind of get it to the same softness as this that I've been working. And I'm going to turn it all into this dark green. Because I don't mind the dark green, I just don't want this little tiny strip of blue. It's just, one, it's not enough of the blue, and two, if I add more, I think I'm going to get more of this dark green. So what I'm going to do is take a flat little piece here and make a triangle, and I'm going to stick it on the corner here. And I'm going to work this in. Now don't worry, because right here you'll start to get a big mound where you're going to have a lot more clay. It will work in. So I want more of the green to blend up through here and less to blend through here, which is why I'm making a triangle. And then I'm going to run it through once just to thin this out. Everything else is already like that. And then I'll continue folding up. Push my side in a little bit, especially right there where it gets all, where I added that piece. And then I'll blend that in. And that should hopefully eat up that blue and give me a dark green color. Over there with really none of that pure blue. I could have added more blue if I wanted to continue with that thought. My other thought process before I started this blend was put white in between each color. So do white, yellow, white, green, white, blue. And that might have given it a cool look too. So I'm just going to keep mixing that in. And after a few passes, you'll start to see it, and it'll turn all this dark green instead of some of that blue on there. Okay, so I should get this more of this dark green color, and that should eat up that kind of pure blue that was there. Yeah, I think I'm happier with that than the actual blue. The blue was also quite crumbly too on the edge. I just ran it through maybe 5 or 6 more times to get that. So I'm okay with that. And then what we're going to do, we're going to turn this into a fan fold or a long thin strip. And the way I do it, rather than folding it, I tend to cut it into pieces because I tend to get less air trapped in when I do it this way, just by flipping it over. Some people fold it, but I get a lot of air when I do that, especially when the clay is really, really hot and sticky. I can't push the air out before it actually sticks down. So I tend to just flip it, do this. But however you like to make your really long, thin strips. I just ordered a metal tray, or I think it's metal. Might be ceramic off of Amazon, because I might make a tray, because I have a good amount of scrap right now that I might use as a base and try to use up my old canes. I've been trying to use them up so they don't go bad, but I might just use them up on a tray because I only need one pendant of 1 or 2 for myself. Did I just move that one? No, I don't think I did. Okay, so now we have this big stack here, and I'm going to roll it out just to thin it enough so my pasta machine can handle it. And we're going to gradually get it down to our thinnest usable setting. Now, what I mean by usable setting is depending on the time of year, will depend how hot it is, right? Which will then affect how sticky your clay is. Some people in more humid areas, if it's more humid out, that will affect how sticky your clay is. If it's winter time, summertime, all kinds of things, what brand of clay you're using, stuff like that. So the thinnest usable setting, meaning if you are running it through and you're going down through your settings and you get it down to say a 4 and it's getting so sticky and so you're unable to manage it, then stop at a 4. You do get a thinner blend or a better fan fold or blended roll if you go thinner, but if you can't handle it and it's all sticking together or tearing on you, then what good is that, right? At least you have a product to come out with if you stop sooner. So I'm going to take this down one step at a time. My Atlas cannot jump from a 0 to a 9. It will tear it. It will eat it right up. I know that about my machine. I know I can go from a 0. I always think a 1 and a 0 are exactly the same. They're really not much different. So I go from a 0 to a 2 to a 4 to a 6. I can do 2 settings at a time without it eating up my clay. So I'm going to run that through now, and I'll be back when that's done. So I've already started the fan fold, and I'm just, you know, doing the, whether it's some people call it a concertina, a fan fold, an accordion fold, all the same thing. It doesn't matter if you start on the dark side or the light side, because you're just making a stack. One side is the dark, one side is the light, and you got the blend in the middle. What I am finding about this Fimo is that it kind of gives me the hint of souffle in the fact that if you stick it down, you can pull it back off fairly easily. Whereas Primo, usually this time of year, you know, because we're at the August 17th, so usually this time of year, if I were to even lay Primo down, it would be stuck. I wouldn't be able to readjust it. The other thing is, I don't believe, from what I've used so far of Fimo Soft, it doesn't have that matte finish that Souffle has, that I don't. I do like the matte finish, but I don't like what it looks like after sanding. It's not my favorite clay, and I don't like how not sticky it is, which I know is like weird to say, but sometimes you do want it to stick together, and sometimes it's just not great at that. So Souffle is not my favorite clay, though I have used it, and I have some of it. I like to try all the, you know, when I first started, after I learned that, you know, at my art store that's 45 minutes away, they had Sculpey 3, and that's what I started with, and everything broke, and it almost turned me right off from clay. And I did some research and realized, oh, Sculpey 3 is a junk clay. Okay. And then I started buying sample packs of, you know, most of them have sample color packs. You know, they have, I know Fimo Effects. That's the first time I used Fimo, and the pastel colors on Amazon. They have like a 6-pack of a sample pack. Fimo Soft does. Regular Fimo has sample packs like this, Fimo Professional. Then you have, you know, here's a pack of Fimo Soft came with a pack like this. Souffle has a pack like this. So does Primo. Kato has a little starter box. So I liked to try them in the beginning just by buying. Yeah, you might not have every single color, but at least you can get the feel of, okay, this one I like to condition. This one works well for my hands. You know, maybe you have arthritis. Oh, I like the way this one sands and buffs. I like the way this one feels. I like the way this one's too sticky, too hard. You know, so that's what I did in the beginning. I do preferably go to Primo, but I do like Cerna in the winter time. It's a little too soft here in the summer. Kato I like, but most of the time it's hard, so I tend not to go with Kato. It does have a nice finish, so it shines up really well. You know, Fimo doesn't like water, so if you're doing like stamps on it and you use water, it gets all mushy. It's crazy mushy. So yeah, anyways, so now we have our blend, and I'm going to stop for tonight because it's 10:40. So I'm going to leave this blend as it is and let it rest for tonight, and then tomorrow, because nothing really happens to it other than it stiffens up. Actually, you know what I might do the next step while it's still soft? I'm going to take something round. Now, I don't quite know. My needle tool is a little skinny. I was just trying to find something round to push into this. My needle tool is a little small, but something like a Q-tip would be too small as well. I don't know if I have a paintbrush that's not tapered. See, like most of them are tapered. This might be too big. Let me find a circle, something circle that I can push down in there that isn't too big or too small. That's kind of, I can get 2 good ones. Yeah, let me look around. This might work. This is a Dental Soft Pick. It's made by Sunstar. that we have in the dental world, but a lot of people use it in polymer clay. So that's not a super, it's a little thinner than a pencil. So what I'm going to do, and I know it has a little texture, but it should be okay, is I'm going to put 2 grooves in here, and I'm just trying to eyeball about even. And I'm going to push it quite far down in. Now some people, you can do this kind of stuff with a credit card. You can do it with pretty much anything. I'll take a look at it from the side in a minute and see if it's at the depth I want it. Let me just kind of get it back in a shape. I think I want to go a little bit more. I really want to mush all that down in there because I think I'm going to fill that in with something tomorrow. I think I'm going to fill these in with something else. So I need to decide if I'm going to go with the same colors down through here or if I'm going to put something different. I might do the same colors but in a different way. So I'm going to let that rest for tonight because I really need to go to bed. Yeah. Oops, it didn't pause. I am going to do it tonight. So this time I'm going to do the white, yellow, white, green, which is what I was talking I could have done before, just because I feel like it. So we're going to do everything the same exact way. We're going to do a Skinner blend. When you get your blend happy enough, cut it into strips and then put it through to your thickest or your thinnest manageable setting. I don't know if I said before on this one, I only went down to a 6, you know, but obviously the thinner these layers are, you know, the smoother the graduation will be. So no blue in this one, and I'm going to blend this out. So there's that blend. Now, there's one of 2 ways I could do it. Either I could cut pieces and just stick them in there, like just cut this in half, or I could try, because I want it to fit like a puzzle, putting one hole in the middle and then putting that's what I'm going to try. Now, I think I'm going to do it down this way, so the green's on the outer sides rather than it, you know, going that way. And you could use 2 different colors. You don't need to use the same one. I'm just trying this because I've never done this. I've done it where I've put grooves and then squished it all back together, but that's not what I'm looking to get this time. So I'm going to put one down in the middle, and then this one should fit in that. So let's try that and see what happens. And again, quite far down, pretty much to the green. Make these ends a little skinnier because they got a little finer down there. So let's see if I can fit this in and in there, and then kind of mush it all back together like that. And then I'm going to drag these ends up. Now that one's stiffened up a little bit because it's been sitting there for like 20 minutes while I've been making this blend off camera and kind of just relaxing doing it. This may look cool in a, you know, a flower pattern or something. Just pulling this green over a little bit. Yeah, that might look cool. So I think at this point, then we'll reduce. It comes down to reducing, and it's just a square, so it's a very simple reduction. You know, if you have cane caps to put on the end to keep it from getting distortion, the Tiny Pandora makes those. You just stick them to the end. They're these little clear acrylic things so you can see what's happening on the end. I know people use soda cans and this and that, but you can't actually see if it's working or not, or if you have a good suction that way. So we're going to elongate it where this side and this side are on the ends, and we're going to make it skinnier this way and longer this way. So we're going to begin just by rolling. But again, not on these ends, okay? You're rolling on the other ends. So not where you see the U's or the waves, you're not rolling that end. And this is all I'm going to do to reduce it. I mean, you can do it by hand. It just takes more hand work. You can just push it in like this with your hands. Or your palm. You know, stuff like that. But a lot of times when it's this size, I find it easier to do it with a roller. You could even do an acrylic block and push down. And then every now and then, if you want to try to keep the ends flat, you can then push the ends back down again. But that's obviously going to shorten your length again. If you want to try to limit your distortion. So I'm going to keep doing this until I get, if I'm going to make a flower out of this, I like 6 petals. When I make flowers, I just don't like the way my 5-petal flowers come out. I've seen other people and they come out nice. Even drawing a 5-petal flower, I have a hard time drawing one. I can just never get the petals to look right. So I tend to make 6-petal flowers. That's just my preference. So I will get this down to where I can cut 6 1-inch pieces out of it. However big this square is going to be is however big it'll be when I get there. So I am going to just keep doing this, and when that's done, we'll cut 6 pieces out of it. And this would be a good time to, you know, let it rest if you want to let it rest, because say tomorrow you'd come back and you'd be manipulating it again. I mean, it'd take a little longer to get it down to your size you want, because you'd have to get the clay warmed up again and moving again, but it'd be a good time to let it rest if you want to. So I might actually stop here for the night, because now it's 11:30 p.m. and I gotta work tomorrow. So I might actually just stop here for tonight. I hate cutting stuff off, so I'm not going to cut a lot off, but you'll get this weird kind of distorted look once we get in there and it's all smooth. We'll get this kind of funky look. So I don't know, we'll see what it turns out to be, and it might look better with different colors for sure. You know, but that's what I went with tonight. So anyways, I'm going to stop playing and I'll be back tomorrow after work. Okay, so it's the next night and I have hiccups, so bear with me. And I just was reducing this down a little bit more, and it's about at 6 inches if I cut the scraps off. But I think I'm going to change the shape a little bit, but I don't really know what it looks like, so I am going to cut the scrap off now. And if I cut 2 6 inches, I'll get most of the scrap off and be able to see what we have for a pattern in here. Not that that's going to tell us too much, but kind of different. Sorry, hiccups. So if I change this into, say, a flower petal, I think I was going to put the dark green in the middle, and it also has this little bump out. It might look kind of cool in the middle of a flower. So let's change the dark green side to a point. I might have to play around with this a little bit more, this technique, and see what happens. I mean, there still is some distortion down here, so I don't know what the inside's going to look like. But before I cut 1-inch pieces, I'm going to change this whole shape, right, or at least this point right now. I could just cut 6 1-inch pieces right now and then change each one individually. Maybe that's what I usually do, so maybe that's what I'll do, and just form each petal on its own. See, but I have a little bit more than 6 inches right now. Not much, really, not much. So let me just, where's my other ruler? That's exactly 6. Yeah, a little bit on each side. So there's still some distortion on each side, so I'd rather just get rid of it now. Oops. And then I'll cut my 6 1-inch slabs off of this. So I do, every time I do this, I close one eye for some weird reason. I also have the camera right in my face, so I can't get up over it like I would normally want to do. Like normally you'd want to get your head right up over it, but I can't because my phone's right here. So now we just have to shape into petals. And I'm not going to finish this flower tonight because, again, it's 9:14 and it's Wednesday night. So what I'll do is I'll shape them. It actually looks cooler in the middle. You get this kind of wavy look. So I was going to put the dark green, which means if I pinch this together, these will go together, or I could pinch this and this would come more together. This M looking part would come together, but most of my canes go on a slightly darker background, so I'd rather have the dark in the middle. I find I like that better, and this is a lighter green than that. So I'm just going to shape it into a petal by mainly pointing this end in. I'll pull this one in. Like that. And then this one, you can round it off by taking your 2 fingers like this. You could set it down and kind of push with your finger to round it. However you want to round it is how you do it. Whatever's more comfortable to you. And then you can roll it on the table to kind of get it a little more smooth, but make sure you're rounding down the whole thing. Now, your length may change, but that's okay because at the end we'll finish them all off and edit the length on all of them to make sure they're the same height. But when you look at them this way, you kind of want to make sure they're all the same fatness, I guess. Honestly, that might actually be kind of cool looking once they all come together. So I'm going to shape them all. I wonder if it would be neat on this one to put the notch in like we've done other ones, or we could point it, have a pointy one, like kind of like this one here where they're pointed petals, or we could like this one here, right there we have like a little notch in the tip, or pointy ones. It's a 5 pointy though. We can make them a little more rounded like that. So whatever, I wonder if a point would look cute on this one. I think I might go with a point, just because I feel like it. Just no rhyme or reason, just because that's what I think I just, at the moment, feel like doing. And make sure you're looking at it from all different angles to make sure it's all about the same height everywhere. All down the length. Yeah, I kind of like how that brings that M. It makes these two, those go on the outside. Okay, one more. So actually we can push each, and I'm just literally pulling it and folding it over itself, kind of. See, I'm just dragging these 2 points up. I'll do the same thing kind of on this side. And that's dragging those white lines kind of in and up. Slowly, because this clay has been sitting all day, I'm kind of doing it slowly so I don't crack it or anything. It's warming up. I can feel it starting to move under my fingers under each one that I do. But it's definitely stiffer than I would if I would have just done it yesterday. You kind of want to make them roughly around the same shape, of course. You can help it. But they're flowers, so they're organic. They're not exactly the same. No, I think that will actually look cool with that when they all come together. I think that might actually look neat. And it might have looked cool with two different colors. Definitely, actually, I think it would have looked cool with two different colors. May do that at some point in the future. Okay, so I'm going to keep doing this with all of them, and I'll show you when they're done. So I have all the petals shaped and put together, 3 and 3. That's how I generally myself do it. And then I'll squish it together when I'm ready to. But I want to fill in the little tiny center that I got there. It's not very big, so I'm probably just going to use some dark color. But I think it has a pretty cool pattern. You could do it the other way, right? If we flip it around and do the light on the inside. Just a quick. You could do the light on the inside. Easy enough. I mean, whatever you want to do. Like I said, if you did 2 different colors, this could look really neat. So if you just did light and dark like this, I feel like it's a pretty cool, I mean, it's not perfectly set, but either way, I feel like it's a pretty cool pattern. You could do, what if we did, because it's 6, do dark, light, like that if you wanted to. You know, whatever you want. That may give it like a star fat, a little different. I don't know. It's different. I think I'm going to go with the dark on the inside just because I have a feeling for me those tend to look better. Doing the dark on the inside and the light on the outside, they tend to pop on a background better. I think I'm going to use it as a veneer on like a dish or something. Use up, like I said, I just got it's coming in the mail, but like it's either ceramic or metal serving tray coming that I might put like some old canes on, kind of like that pendant I just showed you. I've been taking these old flowers, which we made a long time ago, and I cut off the translucent and then just slapped it onto some brown backing just to use them up before they get too crumbly and go too bad on me, because they're probably getting like a year old now. So anyways, so my center, what I would do with these little scraps personally is if you take the yellow, the white, and the light green and mix it, it gives you a lighter color than what we originally started with. So what I would do myself personally is take this dark green off and keep these together, and this will make this type of green here. Okay, again, comparing to where we first started, you'll get that kind of green. What I'll do is I'll take this dark off and I'll use that for my center. You could put a brighter center in if you want. I tend to not go too detailed on my centers because it really, with how tiny it is, to me, it really doesn't matter. I don't really think they'll show very much. It's just I want to fill it in, and I do have already some of that mixed together, so all I need to do is pretty much make this into a sausage and stick it down in, and then all we have to do is backfill and bake, really. Well, and reduce, but pretty much just backfill. You know, this isn't fully mixed, right? There's still some light green in there. I think I'm fine with that. I'll just swirl it up a little bit just to make sure there's not like a line or anything. I'm kind of conditioning a little, getting it to warm up a little bit because it's a little stiff. So I'm just trying to get a part of it that's fairly even. Maybe right here. It's about even. And we'll just stick that in the center there. It should be big enough. Let me just check it. Make sure it fills in that hole okay. I have to make sure because I took them back apart that they're set up nicely. You want to check both ends and make sure both ends are where you want them. You know, really take time shaping your petals to be what you want, because if they're not exactly what you want, you're gonna see it. And then by pushing the opposites, you can kind of smush it all together. And then it'll just be a matching color in the center there. It won't really be a center, it's just kind of filling that in. Because it's the same exact color, so it's just dark green in there, just to fill in the hole that naturally is made by those points coming together. There. And now, you know, when I'm ready, I'll just get some translucent to backfill it, and then I'll probably have to let it rest again because, say tomorrow I backfill it after work. Tomorrow is Thursday, so tonight's Wednesday. I started it on Tuesday night. I finished the flower on Wednesday night. Say Thursday I start backfilling. That backfill clay is going to be a lot softer than this stuff if this sits all night. So I would then want to let it rest another day or so to get the backfill clay to be softer. And that's if I'm patient enough. Sometimes I just go for it and I don't care if I get waste or whatever. That, you know, I usually use all my waste. I mean, I've been using a lot of that white translucent base in projects, so if I get a little waste when I reduce, I don't ever worry about it because I use it every single time almost. Okay, there we go, there's our flower. Just kind of playing around with the points on them. Okay, and tomorrow after work I'll be back and we will backfill it and probably reduce it the next day, step by step. So I lied. It's not the next night. It's still the same night. It's still Wednesday night. It is 10:46 p.m. and I started backfilling. I have one left to do and then I will stop for the night. So I made a sausage, and like we've done many times before, I'm just pinching it into a triangle. So I'm just pulling up this end here. And then I'm going to take my thumbs and I'm going to kind of pull these ends out. So I'm going to kind of jam my thumbs in and flatten these ends out so they can wrap over the petal. Make it kind of like a T. Like that. And that way should stick down in here, but it looks like I need to pull my tops out a little bit more here. Really fan them out so they can meet over the petal. I always do a layer of translucent around the outside afterwards just to make it a full smooth layer. Because if it's not wrapping over like in one spot there, that petal will get a little flat. The other thing is I thought I was running out of my pack of translucent, so I wanted to get it all filled in at least with one pack, and then I can do the wrap in another pack. So some of them were nice and full, and then some of them were a little stingy in my triangle bulk. which what I'll do is, at least I got it filled in. I'll take what I have left here and then even these off. And the ones that I have a little too much, my petals are quite tall, so I'm not gonna, just gonna try to flatten it off a little bit, see if I can get some more out of here, but I don't think I really can. So backfill however you like to backfill. Lately I tend to do more of these triangles. So what I'll do with these ones that are dipped in is I'll take this and run this through my pasta machine and then lay them in these ones that kind of depress in a little bit. And then I'll roll out a big strip of translucent, and then I'll wrap it around the whole entire thing before I start the reduction process. So let me get this rolled out, the rest of what I have here. And then what I'll do with this is just cut a piece off, just get one edge flat, and then pretty much I'll just set it in here where any of these kind of dip in like that, maybe to there, and kind of set it in there so it's a little more flush. Otherwise when I reduce it, it's going to become more of a star shape, which I've definitely reduced to star shape before. It's just a little harder. Okay, so I'll do that with any of these other ones that are kind of dipped in to try to get them to flatten off a little bit more, and then we'll run a stripper all the way around it just like that. Okay, so there it is there. Pretty much all fairly even. I have a strip rolled out on 3 because I'm trying to be stingy with my translucent. And it's not perfect, but I'll shave it off in a second where it's not. And I'm just going to go around and wrap it. Because I have a decent layer over all of the petals, I don't need a really thick outer layer, but if I didn't have a good amount of bulk above the tips of the petals, I would want a thicker outer layer. Now, it looks like I have a really thick layer before my petal, but my petal really ends way up here. It's just when I trimmed it off, it kind of smeared over. And holding it, it kind of smeared. So it's not actually that tall above my petal tip. But there is a layer over all the petal tips. And I'll probably end up cutting this off a project too, this translucent, so I'm not over. I just need it to hold the shape, and then later I may decide, depending on the look I'm going for, if I want an overlapped look or not, I may decide to cut it off. You know, when I'm doing a project and I have this reduced down nice and small, just like I did with that blue one recently. I just cut all the little slices and then I cut little triangles out. I went doop 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 on each slice that I cut. That way my cane still held its shape when I was slicing it, but I got rid of the outer translucent look. I mean, there's still some here and there. These obviously haven't been sanded yet, but I was using this cane up, so I made quite a few of them. Let me see if I can find one. Because I really didn't cut the translucent perfectly on any of these at all. I just did a quick. No, I can't find one where you see it. Because it's translucent. Yeah, I can't find one. Never mind. So I made a few. Christmas, I'm thinking I'll make one for my sister, my mom, and my brother's girlfriend. Oh, and my 2 nieces. Okay, so then we just have to reduce this. And honestly, I'll probably more reduce this as a circle. But you can totally follow the angles of it as well. And try to keep it like an octagon. Like some people reduce kaleidoscopes and things. You can try that as well. I'm not going to reduce it tonight just because I need to go to bed. I need to go to bed. But you can also turn this into a circle. Most of them I turn into a circle. You know, and if it is looking more starish like this, you can actually fill this in a little bit more, and that way you can, you know, reduce it as a circle. Right now this is kind of a little more indented than I usually have it through there. I usually have it more round like this, so I can turn it into a circle. Okay, so we will reduce tomorrow. It's the same damn night. I just can't seem to stop myself. I'm playing around with my reduction technique, and I wasn't going to show you. I was just going to tell you to reduce it like we normally do, but I'm playing around with it. So rather than start in the middle and work all the way up to the end, I pretty much am just working the middle, and I'm trying to see if this will give me less waste. So literally, I'm just pulling these ends up a little bit because they started to pull down. Literally, I started right in the middle, you know, with my hand in the middle, and now I'm just kind of working up these ends, and I'm not going all the way to the top yet. And I'm wondering if this will give me less waste. I'm just kind of pinching up the ends here. So where it gets really fat, I'm kind of just gradually doing my normal tap, 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 but I'm not working the end all the way at the tippy end yet. I want to see if that helps. It might not work. That's why I didn't want to show you it. But I figured, well, you know, I always show people everything I'm doing, mainly because maybe it'll give you an idea of a way you can try something. And maybe it'll help you guys realize you can experiment and be okay with that. You know, if something doesn't always work, it will be okay. I think, going to cut some off and then try to reduce this. I don't know how that's going to work. I don't know. I'm okay with this middle piece, but I want to see if I cut something like here, can I reduce this end more when it's separated? What a cool looking flower, guys. I really like that. Not really focusing well. Sorry, there's something going on outside. It's like 11 o'clock at night and something's barking outside. I think it's a coyote or something. Wow, I really love this flower. I'm going to play around with this a little bit more. You guys like it? I love it. Absolutely love that. Absolutely love it. And with brighter colors, it might even show it better. So I have a good chunk here that I could cut off this whole chunk, but I'm going to leave that for right this second. I want to see if I keep working this part, just like I was, just kind of gradually working my fingers up, if I can pull more out of this. I might lose this end, but that's kind of what you get when you do the cane caps. You lose an end, and I was trying to mimic not touching the end like with a cane cap, but without a cane cap. Just kind of pushing it down here because it's weird now that I have this big thing on the end. Usually I work the end and then it sucks in, right? It all sucks in, and then I get a good amount of waste every time. Not that I, again, worry about my waste, but because I end up using it. If I mix this up, I would get a green translucent color. Wouldn't be super translucent because it's not as much translucent as color, and I would use it. And again, this is the greenish kind of color scrap we got if we cut off the dark. And with the dark, this, when I cut the dark out, this is the dark. When I mix this in, there's not much dark, so I will be getting something similar to this, maybe a slight darker. So the scraps won't be anything bad, that's for sure. So I just go for it, and I don't usually freak out too much about my waste, but I was just trying to play around with a different technique. And if it works, what I'll do is next time we make a cane, I'll show it to you. It's a little different, but look how much length I've already gotten on this. And so far, it's not really pulling down much, only right there. So it is actually working. Try to pull these ends back up. Get my fingers right up under there. Try to work some more of the clay down into the length. It's actually bulbing out is better than sucking in. So that's why I was trying to get it to bulge out. I'm almost at about what I can get out of this. And that's probably as much distortion, a little less distortion than I would normally get. So that's actually not too bad. So again, I would reduce it like we normally reduce it if you don't understand what I'm doing. And if you did understand that I just worked the center, not the ends, you know, I left the ends alone, pretty much. I will show you that at another time, but I would do it how you normally do it unless you can kind of understand. And then this size, I'm going to take this one down even further, a little skinnier. I mean, this is a good amount of cane here. I'm going to cut this off, and I'll call this my waist end right here. Obviously, you should wait before you cut things because I'm just going to roll out my fingerprints a little bit because it smears and pulls everything every which way, but that's really not bad. And so with this one, I'll try to, again, I'm going to cut this off here. I can make a smaller one in this. I can reduce this down even smaller, but I don't really want to. I want to try to leave it because it's so light. I'm gonna leave it larger like this. God, I love this. I really am happy with that. I really I didn't know how the pattern would work. Got a little air trapped in there. So this end I might actually reduce smaller because there's still some air I gotta work out because I didn't work it out the end. Usually I work all the air up and out the end. That's why I start from the middle and work up to the end normally. And this time I didn't work it all up to the end. Here we go. So now I have some smaller slices I can take and some larger slices. Let me just roll this out again to get it a little bit more even. I'm not rolling to reduce, just to remove all the lumpiness. My fingerprints. Okay, so we have a smaller piece here, a larger piece here. Same thing kind of here. I have a little bit of smaller piece on this end. And then this one I will again try to work down. And this, you know, you can take some slices from something like this even still and use it, try to lentil it up. You guys know I do that a lot of times with my leftover things. And see what I get. Just sliding that on a lentil. It's a little bigger. I mean, it's the end, so it's getting a little wonky, but, you know, throw that onto a lentil bead or squish that up a little bit and see how cool you can get it to manipulate. I like doing fun things with them to see what kind of weird look you can get out of it. So that's my scrap end, which really isn't bad. It's honestly probably as much as I would have. And I probably could have worked that down further. Honestly, I probably could work this down further than that if I wanted to, but I have a lot of cane right there. I probably have 10 inches of cane right there, plus whatever this comes out to be. So a good amount of cane. Okay, I'm going to stop talking because it's already 8 minutes, and I'm going to keep working this a little bit, and I'll bring this one down a little smaller in diameter than the other ones, and that's pretty much it. I really like this pattern. I'll probably use it again with different colors for sure. Maybe with a couple different color blends just to see what I can get out of it. But it was fun. It was a different one. I don't think I've ever seen anybody do that. I've seen people push holes and stuff and grooves in and then push it all back together. But I don't know if I've ever seen anybody insert. I've seen them insert like black spots and stuff, and that way you'd have like a line down in there. But I don't know if I've ever seen anybody insert a blend like that. So it was kind of neat. Maybe different, maybe not. Maybe someone's seen it. I'm sure someone has. Polymer clay's been around for a while now. So I'm sure, I think the early 1900s, I think it was, for doll making. So I'm sure someone's done it. Okay, I'm going to stop talking. I'll work this down and I'll take a picture, and pretty much this cane is done. So I hope you guys enjoyed that one. And at some point, we'll probably do some. I'll definitely be doing like a tray with it. Whether I make the video of the tray or not, I don't know. But you can use this for anything. Pendants, slabs, bracelets, just like you would use a regular cane. Bowls, covering containers. You know, people do use canes for all kinds of things. Okay. So I did bake the end scrap off. So I just cut the ends off of each of the canes because I was going to cut them off anyways, and I baked them. Obviously a little distorted, not a full slice, but it gives me an idea for the future of what I did, especially when you're not recording yourself and making videos. It's a good way to remember, you know, if you need something for a project, like, oh yeah, I made that cane and I did it like this, and yeah, I like those colors, or no, I would do that. It's a good way to keep it. So here is the final cane, or the final flower, I should say. I really like it. Here's the side that was against the tile. I really like it, and I think it would be more dramatic, like I said, with multiple colors, so maybe we'll try that soon too. I mean, it's a little distorted, obviously, because I sliced it right after I got done reducing it, but I'm pretty happy with that. And I kind of wrote myself my directions down, and I'll tape them on here, and then I'll have a reference for myself in the future of what one, or what I did. On all my canes are in my book like this. They're all in my book. All I have is packing tape down here, but a lot of times regular not masking tape would probably work, but just regular clear tape would work. And I tape them in, and then I will remember in the future of what I did and how I did it, because I got my quick instructions. So pretty much every cane I've made is in here. Pretty much every single one. My rose, the flip it flower, buttercup, all my white canes, you know, my brain cane one. So I pretty much have most of them in here. I still have a couple I got to transfer over from my old book into my new book. I was kind of gradually adding them in over time, but these are all distorted ends, so none of these are like perfect slices, but they're still, you know, they're still good enough for me to remember what I did, because they're all the ends. So, you know, again, not perfect slices. A lot of times they're distorted and smeared a little bit, but again, enough for me to remember what I've done in the past. So that is it for today, and I hope you guys liked it, and we'll probably do something with it at some point for sure.